Hello! It's been a little while since I've made any videos on art supplies or pens or anything. This month has been very busy because it's springtime and a lot of the kids' end of the school year activities are starting up, and it's just been kind of hectic around here. But today I am going to make a little video that I said I was going to do earlier on the Pilot Juice gel pens. I've had these for a while. I got them several months ago, earlier in the year, so I've had some time to use them in my Hobonichi. So I will talk a little about those and show you how they work, both on the regular paper and on the Tomoe River paper. So these are the Pilot brand Juice gel pens. This is the 12 color pack. I got it from Jet Pens. I got the 0.5 size, which I think was, there is one size smaller than that, and I wanted to go a little bit larger. And I also bought, I got the pack of 12, and then I added a brown as well, because Pilot does make some really neat, they have different shades of brown. You can get 2 or 3 maybe different shades of brown, and I do kind of love the brown ink. So, like the highlighters, the mild liners that I reviewed before, these come in a great package, which is kind of sturdy. It's sort of thick, stiff plastic, so you can store them in this. That's very helpful. It keeps them from going all over the place. And the one thing I've discovered with these, I really do like them, but I don't know a lot about ink chemistry or how the makeup of different inks go, but I used to airbrush years and years ago, and I had a friend who had been airbrushing for much longer than I have, who explained to me that white paint in the airbrush, that the pigments that make up the white paint were larger, I guess, on a microscopic level than the pigments that make up the darker color. When you're talking about, for that it was paint, opaque paint. And that was why pastel colors or colors that you had mixed an opaque white paint into needed to be thinned a lot more than like a black or a dark blue, because they would clog up the airbrush more easily, and I definitely found that to be the case. So I don't know if this is a related issue, but the one thing I've noticed with these using them is that the darker colors are a much better writing feel than the lighter colors. Like, this is actually my favorite color in here, is this really dark, it's a beautiful like dark purpley almost blue, and it has a very, very smooth writing feel to it. Like if you're just writing words or if you're drawing, it's really, really nice and very, very smooth. When you compare it to, there isn't a yellow gel pen in here, but there is like this sort of a light orange, and you have a darker orange as well, and the lime green in particular, I noticed. The ink is still nice and you get a good color, but there is a distinctly different feel in the pull of the pen and the way the roller ball on the tip works. It just doesn't slide as freely. It almost feels like it's scratching the paper. So I've kind of found that as I've been using these, and I've had them for a little while, I'm kind of using them less than I thought I would, just because I don't like the way these lighter inks feel, but they do look nice on the page. I mean, it doesn't seem to make a difference with how they look. The light inks, you can't really see that on camera, and it does show up a little bit better if you're looking at it in person, but the lime green is very, very light, and this is on just regular, this is the back side of one of my son's school papers, so this is like regular Xerox paper that I'm using. The brown is actually really nice. So I've been using them, the darker colors, for some writing in the Hobonichi, and I do use them a little bit in artwork, but I am finding that I'm not using them quite as much as I was when I first got them, because of these lighter colors being a little scratchy. And obviously with these tiny little points and a roller ball, you're not using these to fill in large fields of color on artwork. But I mean, you can with the darker colors, you can go pretty good. It uses a lot of ink, but you can get pretty decent coverage, and it flows smoothly when you're using it. With the lighter colors, not so much. Orange isn't too bad. And again, like when you look at it, it doesn't look bad, but it just feels a little like it's giving you resistance on the paper more than the darker colors. So I'll show you, this was in one of my earlier, my January actually, Hobonichi flip through. This is where I used this orange gel pen. I've had these for longer than I thought, because yeah, I got this back in January, to use my my doggy here that I did, my dog. And I use like a hash kind of a like scratchy coloring on it. And I thought that worked pretty well. It gives you kind of a nice effect. And that is what I found that they are best for, is that kind of artwork. Let's flip back here. Yeah. So like here, this bubble tea, again, I used them. I really do like this. This was the other color in here that I'm really fond of. It's like a purple, but it's got a little bit of like a magenta in it. And that's a pretty color. So I use them on small illustrations like that, little drawings just here and there in the book. And instead of trying to do a whole field of color, they do work nicely if you color in like that with just lines, or you can even cross hatch it like that and get kind of a neat effect. It's a little bit different. That little cupcake I did with these as well. The which pink was it? I think it's this pink is actually a really nice, yeah. It's like a nice neon pink, and that's what I used on the cupcake icing. The lighter pink, I think, yeah, it's still pretty nice. Now see, there's a lighter color. There's not a huge difference between these two tones, but you can see it. But the pink really does kind of, it has a better feel to it. So maybe it's sort of the red-based inks versus these kind of more yellowy, like this orange and the lime green. That might affect the feel on paper more than just the tone value. So I'm going to turn ahead. Actually, you know what? Oh, here's where I had tested them out with some of the colors. This is on the Tomoe River paper in the Hobonichi Techo. And they do smear, like we've talked about that, or I've talked about that in my videos before, that ink, it takes ink a little time to dry on this Tomoe River paper. It doesn't soak in, which is one of the reasons this paper works so well for watercolor and things like that. But it doesn't take these long to dry. Still got a little bit, but you can see just a few seconds and it's already not so smeary. So if you use these to write in your Hobonichi Techo, just give them like 10 or 15 seconds and it will be dry enough that it won't be a problem. And they work very well on the calendar pages because they are such fine points that I think they do work well for like crossing out things and writing in the calendar. I use that dark blue black a lot. Yeah, that is what it's called, blue black. I use that one a lot for the calendar pages. So anyway, I do like these. I recommend them. Just I'm just not crazy about the feel of some of these colors, and it's funny that there is such a difference, but they're a good accompaniment, especially for the calendar where the squares are a little too small to use something with a wider point. So I will be back in a few weeks with my May Hobonichi flip through. Thanks everybody. Bye bye.